Gentlemen, it has come to my attention that rally is pretty dangerous. Now, there are many reasons why it's dangerous, but to break it down simply, in most forms of road racing, you would hit barrier R if you came off the track. But in rally, you simply hit rock, or even worse, tree. Now, with that being said, I've decided to get in a rally car. I'll be doing this somewhere east of Canberra in Australia, in the middle of nowhere. This place is called Cowan Forest, also known as Cowan Rally Village. There is no village. Furthermore, I'll be co-driver in this Subaru WRX STI, similar to the one that Colin McRae would drive. With that being said, I'll be driven by professional rally car driver, Andrew Penny. Anyway, all funds raised from this event went to motor neurons disease research, so if you ever do have the opportunity to participate in this, you have to do it. It's mandatory. Go check out Brindabella Motorsport Club if you're in the area, and also support Motor Neurons Disease Research Australia. Back into the video. A co-driver's job is to give direction by reading notes to the driver to let them know what is coming up next on the rally course. And most of the time anyways, a driver wouldn't be able to remember every corner at a stage. But as we all know, this is me getting into the car. So I guess you could say our rally driver is I'm sorry Andrew, but I've never been in a rally car before and I do not know this stage. Anyways, what could possibly go wrong? I'm not wearing a race suit either, but I'm sure I'll be fine. I also want to thank the officials that worked this event because I was not able to strap myself in as I haven't even seen one of these harnesses before.
Running out of fuel again.
I wonder why. How many Ks you got?
You need directions? Medium leftover crust?
Yeah.
Now, given that I had no notes, I decided to shut up and let Andrew drive. The marshal would then count us down, and we would launch into space. It was at this point in time, I realized what I got myself into. We are just about to hit 164 kilometers per hour, literally on dirt, in the rain, just over 10 seconds after starting. However, this was awesome. I've been driven an R35 GTR. I've been driven in a Stage 2 tuned Audi RS3, but nothing beats how violent this car is. And the amount of grip this car has on the dirt is insane. Andrew would then perform a Scandinavian flick into his right hand corner, which was pretty cool, and I thought being a participant that they wouldn't be driving 10/10ths, but if this isn't 10/10ths, I really don't know how much quicker they can go. And yes, we literally just went airborne a couple of seconds ago. It was at this point, about 60 seconds into our stage, I realized my stomach wasn't as strong as I thought it was. Not good. Still, could be worse. Continuing on, I made it a rule that I would not spew or pee or poo in another person's car. This was mandatory for me as the car was so loud, the driver was not able to hear anything I was going to say. And if somebody did that in my car, they would be evicted in a shorter amount of time than Nikita Mazepin's career. But continuing on, I had a grin underneath my helmet the size of Daniel Ricciardo's grin, and I couldn't wipe it off me. As you can see, there's a marshal on the right hand side that was taking photos. Roy Murinen managed to capture some awesome photos, and all the money he raises from those photos he's going to donate to charity, so good on him. And here's a photo they took of our run through the forest. Continuing on, feeling amazing. The adrenaline was insane. The amount of speed he was able to carry while on such low grip surfaces was amazing. His driving was fantastic at this point from what I was observing inside the cockpit, and we're about to turn right and dive into the heart of this woodland area. And this is only going to get a bit more scary because if you come undone in this area, you're straight into a tree, and we all know what that looks like. My GoPro was actually struggling a bit to keep up with the exposure levels from the sky and also the lighting on the road, and you can just see how fast those trees are moving by the car. And usually it doesn't look as fast on camera, but you know, when it's on camera and it looks fast, it's probably moving fast. So I'd probably say the most impressive quality of the WRX STI is the four-wheel drive and the traction it has coming out of the corners. As you can see, Andrew has a bit of understeer going through that corner, which isn't usually a characteristic of a driver who is being patient. So I really do think he was pushing maybe a tiny bit just to try and scare me. But just take a look at this. So one of the scariest parts of the rally, we do manage to hit around 152 kilometers per hour. You can probably notice it started raining consistently now, and with that I would agree to an extent that it actually improves the grip as it settles the dust, but then it quickly becomes a lot less grippy out there when the rain starts to wet down the track. We are now coming up to the final stretch of the stage, and this is probably one of the most wicked parts as it carries so much speed through here, and we do actually get airborne at this point in time. We went flying through the air at around 130 kilometers per hour, and that brings us to the end of this stage for the Canberra rally driving experience. And that was a whole heap of fun, and the first thing I do is just compliment his driving.
Brilliant driving. You didn't fall on your nose. Huh? It's not coming to go there. That was brilliant, man.
So, gentlemen, we didn't die, and I'd say this experience will turn your pants brown faster than Amber Heard wakes up in the morning, goes to the toilet, and then gets out of bed. So, because we didn't die, I had the brilliant idea to do it again. This time, we would be getting into a Honda Civic, which is a front-wheel drive car, so therefore it should have a bit less traction than the WRX. But it's still going to be fun. Another thing to note is these cars are super light, as they have pretty much all the interior ripped out of them to make the car as light as possible and achieve the fastest lap time. This car is obviously in a lower class than the WRX, but honestly, getting into any of these cars is pretty amazing. And this driver in the Civic wasn't too bad either. It also requires a different sort of driving style, as it is front-wheel drive compared to four-wheel drive in the WRX. That means he activates the handbrake in slightly different methods to what Andrew did. Also, at this point in time, the rain started coming down a lot heavier, meaning that there was a lot less grip than there was available in the previous run. I couldn't quite read the speedo in this car, but nonetheless he was going really fast along this stretch of road, and he was able to keep the car pretty planted despite having all the rain coming down. I'd say given the driver's inputs, it's pretty obvious that the front wheel drive car would have more understeer in comparison to a four-wheel drive car. You can see this when he initiates the handbrake to get the rear to come around for that extra rotation in the corners. One of the drivers told us a story that throughout all his participants on the day, he's had to like pull over and stop due to around 5 people spewing, or at least slow down because they felt sick, and he was driving a rear-wheel drive car. I think it was a Miata. So this is way more violent than actual circuit racing on a road, because you're feeling G-forces not only from the front, back, left and right, you're also feeling the G-forces from going up and down, and I think that is what makes most people sick. So as an F1 driver once said, I'm moving up and down, side to side, like a roller coaster. Also, if you have any more suggestions as to what I should try out next, be sure to let me know in the comment section below. It literally can't be much more scary than this. Our boy Roy Murinen was also out taking photos again, and he managed to capture this shot, and both times when I was in these rally cars, I just couldn't wipe the smile off my face. It was just so awesome to experience, and I know a lot of people would want to experience this driving for themselves, but the fact is, it's not just like an ability thing, it's like having the balls to even try to have the confidence going into the corners that some of these other guys do is just phenomenal. So you need not only the ability to drive one of these cars, but you need to have the confidence to be able to extract the maximum performance out of them as well, which is the hard thing to do in my opinion. So if you ever get the chance to do something like this, 100% go do it. It's one of the best experiences you'll ever have. And we're heading back into the forest now. This is the scary part, because if anything comes undone, you're straight into the tree. This run was a bit more conservative, I think, compared to the WRX. I'm not sure if that's just the amount of traction he had available because of the wet weather, but still using a fair amount of what is available in the grip and the traction from the front wheel drive of this car. You can see his hands aren't working as hard as Andrew's hands, because I think Andrew was trying to scare me a fair amount, which is honestly what I want. If they could go 100%, honestly, I would tell them to, but I'd probably want to put a race suit on for that to happen. Not only that, they're just going off of memory and what they can see. They don't have any co-driver to tell them using their notes what the next direction is going to be. And that's the next thing I wanted to talk about, is how much of a big job these co-drivers have. They're dealing with the motion of going up, down, left, right, forward, backwards, while staring at their notes and making sure that the timing of their notes when they give a direction is spot on. Otherwise, I'd say giving an incorrect direction is worse than giving no direction at all. So we just flew through the forest part, and that's probably one of my favorite parts of the whole stage, because you can get a real sense for how fast you're traveling with how close the trees are to the car. And this last stretch, I believe there's a bit of a straight where we can get airborne after we turn left. And if you pay close attention, I noticed that there's a brake marker or a turning marker on the left hand side. There's a little flag there with the orange arrow that allows the driver to know that there's a left-hander coming up soon. This is the last straight piece of dirt road where we can full on send it and go over this crest. And we get a little bit of air, not as much as the WRX, but still, it's a wicked experience, and I'm so grateful to be a part of this and get the opportunity to get in the rally car with these guys, because even though they're probably doing like 6/10, they're not pushing as hard, 60% of what their full ability is. It was still an amazing experience for me. You have to have a different technique with the front wheel drive, I guess? Yeah. Yeah, and try to like initiate with the handbrake to try and get the rear to come around.
You also got to carry a lot more speed through the corners. Did you go on the other run before, or this one?
I went in that one.
Okay.
Do you use this as kind of like practice?
Basically, yeah. Just some time to get
time behind the wheel. Yeah.
Yep. It all helps, and there's not a lot of other opportunity to do it, so.
Yeah. Lastly, I just want to say thanks to all the staff and officials that helped out on the day and the event to run so smoothly. Everyone was so polite and the drivers were fast, and I hope all you guys watching get to experience this someday. So please go support if you're in the local area, Brindabella Motorsport Club, and I hope they host more events like this, because for sure I'll be back here again. Don't forget, if you enjoyed the video, it is mandatory to like and subscribe. This has been being a co-driver or passenger for a professional rally driver for a day. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in a brand new one.